Now, how are the taxes and subsidies going to affect the budget line? Okay, now taxes. So taxes could be of two kind. One is your unit tax. Okay, another could be your value tax. Okay. Now, if a government would put a tax on the commodity, it would increase the price of the commodity. Okay, it would increase the price. Fine. So in case if I am going to put a tax of say $t, fine, then and earlier the price of the commodity was P1, so after tax I would have to pay P1 plus $t. Okay, while and you know this, that is let me give you one example. That is, in case if your budget line was P1x plus P2y equals to m, say your P1 P2 is equal to 10 and 5, income is say 50. Okay, then budget line was actually 10x plus 5y is equal to 50. Now there is a tax on x, okay, of say $10, okay, per unit. That is $10 per unit. So P1 dash would be 10 plus 10, that would be 20. Okay, and the new budget line would have been 20x plus 5y is equal to 50. Earlier you were able to purchase, in case if you're purchasing only x, then y would have been 0, so x was 5. Now after tax, if y is equal to 0, say you're purchasing only x, then x would be equal to 50 upon 20. That would be say how much? I think that is 2.5. Okay, so 2.5, and this is there. So you are getting less of x. Okay, and in case if you want to translate it into a budget line, then how would you do it? That is, see if this is the budget line, and no, actually these are not the budget line, these are the axis, and this is your x and y. Earlier when y is 0, x was 5, and when x is 0, y was 10, and the budget line was this. Clear? That was an earlier condition. Now when y is 0, x is 2.5. Okay, when y is 0, x is say 2.5, and when x is 0, y is still 10. Okay, so the new budget line would happen like this. Okay, so budget line has tilted inwards. Okay, so budget line shifted inwards. Clear? In case of a tax, that is, in case of a tax. Clear? Well, the other kind of a tax could have been an ad valorem tax, or say value tax. Okay, now what is a value tax? That is, value tax would have been well, this implies that this is a tax on the value of a good rather than the quantity purchased of this. Okay, so in case if the sales tax is say 5%, okay, then a good that is priced at say $5, it would be selling at $1.05 because your value tax is say 5%. Okay, I'll be talking about the different kind of taxes in the different recordings, but here the only point which I want to make is about the value tax, is about that how the taxes are going, how these taxes are going to impact the budget line. So this will also increase the price of the good, and hence it would also shift the budget line inwards. Okay, in case of a value tax. Now what will happen in case if you have a subsidy? Okay, that is, subsidy is another part of the story, which says, well, the government gives an amount to the consumer that depends upon the amount of the good purchased. Okay, now if the subsidy is, say, S dollars, okay, if subsidy is S dollars per unit, and consumption per unit of consumption of good X, then price of good X for this consumer would be P1 minus S, because government is paying a part of this price to the producer and not the consumer is not paying that. So S is the amount of the subsidy which has been given to this consumer. So it is P1 minus S. Clear? So, and what will happen? Okay, now taking up the earlier example only, where you had earlier you had 10x plus 5y is equal to 50. Now after, and suppose subsidy of say $5 has been given to $5 subsidy is actually given to your on the consumption of good X. So for consumer, he has to pay only 5. Okay, he is not concerned with how government will pay that. Government will pay that. So now earlier X was 5, now X is 10. Okay, so budget line is going to shift outwards in this case. Okay, now I'm using the same diagram. Budget line would be shifting outward because Y is not changing. Now X would increase to 10 and budget line will be like this. So budget line would shift outwards. Okay, in case of a subsidy. Clear? So this is the case, that is budget line is going to shift outwards in case of a subsidy. Fine, thanks.